Afternoon, members. It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call to order the meeting of the panel on administration of justice and legal services. Item 1 on the agenda, information paper issued since the last meeting. The Secretariat has issued no such paper since the last meeting. Item 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. For the next meeting, which will be held on Tuesday, the 9th of September, 2 p.m., we will be discussing the following items. In fact, we have 3. First, development of the Hong Kong International Legal Talent Training Academy and progress of its capacity building initiatives, and waiting time for court proceedings. In fact, 2 items. Any comments on those 2 items? So let's get to the 2 substantive items today. That's item 3, reviewing and enhancing the on-the-job training of legal practitioners. We now invite the government officials and other representatives to join us. Members, please note LC paper number CP bracket 21318/2025 bracket 02. That's a paper from the Department of Justice. Members who would like to speak, please press the request to speak button. We welcome the Deputy Secretary for Justice, Dr. Horace Cheung. So Dr. Cheung is here today as Deputy Secretary for Justice and Acting Secretary for Justice. So, Dr. Cheung, whenever you're ready, please walk us through the paper. Good afternoon, Chairman and members. I am grateful for the opportunity and the invitation to me and my colleagues from the DOJ. We're here today to brief members on reviewing and enhancing the on-the-job training of legal practitioners. I will outline the measures taken by the DOJ on this front. The Hong Kong International Legal Talent Training Academy was a key measure proposed in the 2023 policy address, and then on the 8th of November 2024, this academy was established. Since its inception, the academy started working on capacity building and promoting the academy's offerings. The offerings target local, mainland, and overseas legal services and dispute resolution sectors with training, practical legal training in their areas. Now, on industry-specific training, in March this year, the Academy worked with UNCITRAL, or the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law, on a conference on climate change and international trade law. And then in June this year, we also held a 2-day program called the Mainland Civil and Commercial Legal Practice Training Course 2025. We got very positive feedback. In the future, the Academy will work with local, mainland, and overseas legal professional bodies to provide the industry with more practical training courses. The training will enhance exchange and nurturing of legal talent, and that will build up the professional expertise and practical experience of the legal practitioners. That will strengthen Hong Kong's leading position in legal services in the region, especially in nurturing local legal talent. The Academy's training will play a pivotal role. In terms of local training, the DOJ also offers different training, exchange, and promotion programs. In September 2019, we launched the Professional Exchange Program. That program is about lawyers in private practice comparing notes with their peers. That program has been very popular in the legal sector, and the participants have something very positive to say about that. Now, starting from 2020, we also teamed up with Tsinghua University. We have held 5 rounds of the course The Fundamental Principles of Chinese Law since then, and that strengthens the understanding of the national legal framework and national law among private practice lawyers and government counsel. Now, starting from 2021, we invited private practice lawyers to take part in the course, and that enhanced their understanding of our country's legal system. In mid-2020, the DOJ launched the understudy program that involved training opportunities for barristers and solicitors with less experience in the government civil and prosecution work. That broadens those lawyers' horizons. We give them valuable experience so that they pick up the skills in handling cases. Since launch, the scheme has seen 300 solicitors and barristers take part in the scheme. Those lawyers had less than 5 years of experience under their belt, and this program has been well received. Now, on prosecution, the prosecutions division of the DOJ also works closely with the Hong Kong Advocacy Training Council and the 2 legal professional bodies to organize the prosecution on fiat training program regularly. The program covers seminars, written assignments, and a full-day mock trial to make sure that those young and less experienced barristers and solicitors get a full grasp of the proceedings in the magistrate's court. The prosecution's divisions also assesses these up-and-coming solicitors and barristers to see if they are suitable as candidates as fiat prosecutors. We will continue to review the list, that is the fiat list, to ensure quality of our fiat prosecutors. Now, on dispute resolution, starting from 2018, we have been working with the AAIL, the Asian Academy of International Law. We have held 4 editions of the Investment Law and Investor State Mediator Training Program since 2018. We offered training to more than 300 participants from more than 40 jurisdictions. The DOJ will continue to work on turning Hong Kong into a base for training legal talent. A noteworthy point of our work is OFSA, and that is the outcome-related fee structures for arbitration. This new arrangement has been in place since the 16th of December 2022. Now, to give legal practitioners a full grasp of OFSA, we have been holding talks and seminars. In June 2023, we held a talk for lawyers at small and medium law firms. We also encourage and support the Law Society of Hong Kong and the Hong Kong Bar Association to hold talks on OFSA for their members. And then in November 2023, the DOJ also published the guidance note and checklists to provide practical information for legal practitioners. Now, the GBA legal professional examination has been held 4 times between 2021 and 2024. As at the end of May this year, more than 560 Hong Kong and Macau legal practitioners have obtained the lawyer's license after passing this exam. This means those lawyers can practice in certain civil and commercial matters in the 9 mainland cities of the Greater Bay Area. The DOJ also seeks to provide different kinds of professional training for GBA lawyers. Last July, we held our first GBA lawyers practical legal training course. That was in Guangzhou. And then we also held 2 editions of intensive training on mainland law and practice. The first edition in August 2024, the other in May this year. Now, on mediation and dispute resolution, last August we also held the inaugural GBA mediator training course in Hong Kong. For that training, we invited mediation experts. Those were veteran mediators. They were invited to serve as keynote speakers. They had an in-depth discussion over mediation skills. At that course, more than 400 participants took part. Hong Kong's legal sector is embracing a new era. And we are reshaping the way we provide legal services. The DOJ will do everything it can to enhance the grasp of law tech among the legal sector. The first Let's Go Tech Roundtable was held on the 12th of June this year. That facilitated exchange and sharing of new ideas in the legal sector. This year, the DOJ will continue to hold roundtables and other events. We will also come up with a law tech roadmap to help legal professionals adopt technology. Government Council will also take part in professional training and also summit on law tech. This is to build their capacity and also strengthen Hong Kong's status as a regional legal services and dispute resolution center of the Asia-Pacific region. Now, on foreign-related legal services, the DOJ has come up with a secondment mechanism with the Hague Conference on Private International Law and the International Institute for the Unification of Private Law, known as UNIDROIT. That program is open to application by all qualified lawyers, and that will help our lawyers get a deeper understanding of how those international bodies work. They can also talk to global experts and broaden their horizons. Hong Kong will be able to take a part in shaping international law. The DOJ will continue to promote the scheme. We hope that in the future, more barristers and solicitors will sign up for the scheme. These achievements show that our continuous effort has paid off, and we welcome comments from members. Let's all work together to make our legal sector more competitive. Thank you, Dr. Chen. And I'll give the floor to Mr. Isaac Chen, Bar Council member from the Hong Kong Bar Association, for a speech, 5 minutes. Thank you, Chairman. I thank the Chairman for the invitation to join this meeting. Now, in terms of on-the-job training, the Bar Association has done a few things. Now, we have an advocacy training council under the HKBA. That council, either on its own or in partnership with the judiciary, invites top legal practitioners to hold talks for our members. Now, what most often happens is that we get local senior counsel or King's Counsel from overseas, or senior judges who just took the office in the top court overseas. We invite them to come here to give talks. Next week, we will have a talk on dealing with expert evidence from medical experts during a trial. This is a talk co-hosted by the DOJ and the Bar Association, and the speaker will be a senior counsel who used to be the chairman of the Bar Association. In February this year, in fact, it was Justice Oswald. We invited him to give a talk on maritime law. So we invited him to talk about maritime legal development. Now, on the job training, another aspect of work we did is that we encourage our members to take part in global conferences. This year, there will be a global summit to be held for the third edition. This is a summit for emerging barristers. This will be jointly hosted by the Bar Association from Hong Kong, their counterparts from Singapore and Malaysia. So that summit will cover international civil, commercial, and criminal laws in terms of their latest development. For that international summit, we will invite global experts to this event to be held in Hong Kong. Those experts will bring our members up to speed on legal matters, and there will be a chance for members to talk to them. And then on the 20th of August, the Hong Kong Bar Association will also work with the World Justice Project. We will work on a summit on the latest anti-corruption measures and policies in terms of their implementation. We also encourage our members to take part in key international conferences such as Bar Conferences, Law Asia Conference, and the International Bar Association Conference. We also offer subsidies to our new and up-and-coming members who take part in those conferences. We also give subsidies for our members to serve as speakers at those summits. The Bar Association works with the DOJ and the judiciary in offering training. Aside from that, the HKBA also supports other legal bodies, including an institute or a society on construction law, medical legal society, the family law society, the competition law society. The Bar Association also works with arbitration and mediation bodies, such as we have the Hong Kong International Arbitration Center, and there's also an institute for arbitration. We work with these bodies. Now, when we come across any option of providing on-the-job training together with them, we take part in those processes. When we come across information that will help our members in terms of on-the-job training, and then within our internal communications of the Bar Association, we will promote such training to our members. And we also subsidize our up-and-coming barristers for them to take part in advocacy training overseas. We offer the Charles Chin Memorial Scholarship for up-and-coming barristers to take part in advocacy training programs in other common law jurisdictions. We also work with the UK's barrister training colleges, especially the Middle Temple. We are in regular contact with the Middle Temple so that our up-and-coming barristers can take part in their training. We also work with the Keble College of Oxford University. The Bar Association also supports the foreign-related legal talent training of our country. The Bar Association encourages our lawyer members, be they senior counsel or not, to take part in the common law training at Peking University and the East China University. We cherish those training opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Mr. Justin Yun, Council Member and Chairman of the Standing Committee on Standards and Development from the Law Society of Hong Kong. Mr. Yun, please. Thank you. The Law Society of Hong Kong has CPD Continuing Professional Development, RME Risk Management, Common Law Center, and we also subsidize young members to partake in different courses. We also help young solicitors to turn risks into opportunities. The Law Society of Hong Kong is a self-regulatory organization. Starting from 1988, the Law Society of Hong Kong has been provided CPD for all solicitors holding practicing certificates as well as practicing solicitors. They need to have 15 credits every year. They need to obtain a total of 30 credits. In 2008, we set up Hong Kong Academy of Law. It organizes the vast majority of RME and CPD courses of the Law Society of Hong Kong. In 2024, the Academy organized a total of 89 CPD courses and 206 RME courses. Law tech, artificial intelligence, cross-boundary dispute resolution, anti-money laundering, mental health law, conveyancing, all these are the topics of the courses provided. Starting from 2021, the Law Society of Hong Kong has recognized a total of 58 CPD courses on shipping and maritime. Starting from 2004, we have been providing RME courses. Solicitors need to complete all the core courses every year. Afterwards, they will have to complete at least 3 hours of elective. These cover solicitors, trainee solicitors, as well as overseas solicitors. Fraud risks, litigation risks, cloud risks, all these are topics covered. As for common law centers, lawyers have been working with different jurisdictions to promote the education of common law. Since 2019, we have been working with different universities in mainland China to organize courses on common law. In the middle of this year, we set up Common Law Center. We provide more systematic programs covering cross-boundary legal services, arbitration, and so on. We also recruit solicitors to volunteer to promote the use of common law. We also plan to provide shipping, financing, maritime, arbitration, regulatory law, and so on. We aim to expand our professional services in order to groom more talents in different legal areas. This will enhance the competitiveness of local legal practitioners. We are going to have IOMED courses soon. We will provide courses in relation to mediation in Hong Kong, given the fact that IOMED has already been set up in Hong Kong. We also attach a lot of importance to succession. We want to ensure the long-term development of young solicitors. We provide subsidies or sponsors to young members to take part in different international legal forums. This will help them expand their horizons. This will also help them build a better network to be active members of the global legal profession. In 2024, Law Society of Hong Kong subsidized a total of 9 young members to take part in the International Legal Forum. We want to provide at least 6 international law activities all around the world for members with less than 5 years of practicing experience. These cover different experiences as well as associations. Last of all, how can we turn difficulties into opportunities? This is exactly the time for young lawyers to up their antes. They need to upskill themselves. They need to learn to use new technologies such as AI. They also need to train their business acumen. If they have an innovative mindset as well as a professional one, they will be successful in helping the legal sector in Hong Kong to scale new heights. Thank you. First member, Ms. Maggie Chen, 5 minutes each. Questions and answers included. Thank you, Chairman. This agenda item is very meaningful. I thank the 2 professional bodies for your tireless efforts in providing training for local barristers and solicitors. The DOJ said that they would continue to render support to the 2 professional bodies in the face of difficulties, opportunities ahead of us. We need even more proactive policies to support us in the upgrading and transformation process of the legal sector. I thank the DOJ in particular. They have been becoming more and more proactive. In relation to training, I'd like to stress that we shouldn't just cover training on theories. We need practical training as well. Lawyers need to have a good understanding of the market. Just as the Law Society of Hong Kong said, it is very important to engage the participation of the business sector as well. That's exactly where the DOJ can help. About 90% of all law firms in Hong Kong are SMEs. In mainland China, oftentimes they said that you need to go global, otherwise you will go under. In the CE Exchange Q&A session, the chief executive said that he couldn't take a large team to the global conferences or delegations. In June, I was one of them. We went to Guangzhou and we visited different state-owned enterprises or enterprises in mainland China. We don't need the CE to go with us each time. When the high-ranking officials aren't available, then we may invite senior government counsel. Then we can together go to the business sector. We can reach out to them. This will enable us to have a better understanding of the market. We can tap the pulse of the market in the transformation process. Otherwise, we cannot put what we have learned into practice owing to a lack of business opportunities. I need to commend Dr. Horst Zhang's visit in June. We need to engage the government to lead us to different places for visits. That is how training may become more pragmatic. Thank you. Dr. Zhang? Recently, when it comes to going global for mainland enterprises, we need to seize upon opportunities arising from this trend. In June, the DOJ worked with Invest Hong Kong, and we went to Guangzhou together with the legal sector in Hong Kong. It was a very good experience. It presents a lot of good opportunities. We shouldn't just include the legal sector. If you were an entrepreneur or the boss of a company, we shouldn't just focus on, say, the liquidation process and so on. That's not all that the entrepreneur wants to know. For example, the entrepreneur may want to know more about going listed, financing, taxation. Probably they want to know more about these aspects. In the course of going global, they may want to know more about arbitration as well. We need to take a multifaceted approach. This will better pique the interest of mainland enterprises and mainland entrepreneurs. We went to Guangzhou in June and we exchanged with the mainland enterprises there. This is a very good experience. In the future, we will work with different sectors, say finance, taxation, IP, and so on. We will work together. We will reach out to enterprises for better results. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Zhang. Chairman, I'd like to add something real quick. Thank you. When it comes to the Hong Kong International Legal Talents Training Academy, I want young lawyers in Hong Kong to have more opportunities when it comes to going global for mainland enterprises. Next, Mr. Jimmy Ng.
Paragraph 6 of the paper sets out the many programs that have been rolled out since the setup of the Academy for Legal Practitioners. Geopolitics is complex. So for emerging topics, we may have to find overseas scholars or legal practitioners with relevant experience to teach our local lawyers. In mid-June, we passed the bill on stablecoin. That was a groundbreaking moment. For local lawyers to learn about dispute resolution over stablecoins, I believe we will have to find outside experts to help us. So my question is, So on topics, emerging topics such as stablecoin, and given this complex international landscape, have we anticipated any problems in the future in terms of finding overseas speakers or scholars who come here? And if so, what can we do? I just want to say we are the first in the world to legislate for stablecoins. We have to stay relevant in terms of the topics on which we offer training. Indeed, on stablecoin, Hong Kong is in a leading position. The member made a good point. The DOJ was invited by foreign chambers of commerce in Hong Kong to discuss the situation in the Greater Bay Area. And during the discussion, we got many questions on the legal framework on stablecoin. When we visited Guangzhou in June this year, mainland businesses also asked us about the framework about stablecoin, and this shows businesses in the mainland and overseas take a keen interest in this area of Hong Kong where we have a lead. So Hong Kong's legal sector will need to have a firm grasp of how this regime works. I want to put minds at ease. In the future, there will be conferences and training programs on topics such as stablecoin and other topical matters. We will design suitable programs for our legal practitioners. And we do not restrict ourselves to local experts. Hong Kong wants to become an international legal training hub. We have an edge because we have a pool of local experts, and when we are short of experts, we can invite overseas experts to come here and we will have an easier time. We can also invite mainland experts to Hong Kong. So we can bring experts from overseas and the mainland to Hong Kong to offer training. Honestly, the courses at the academy are in keen demand. We have been overwhelmed by applications. We have to look after the local legal sector. Mainland provinces and cities have also come to us. They asked us to arrange training programs for them. We have also received such requests from overseas, so we're coping with many such requests. Our colleagues are working very hard on this. I hope members here can also support the Academy's work. Next, Ms. Eunice Yong. Now for the Academy, it is now up and running, and it has held 2 events within such a short time frame. The work is paying off. The Academy has a bright prospect. Now I have a question. It has to do with laws related to the Islamic world. Now, the first Islamic bond, or sukuk, was listed recently. And that's also a source of business opportunities in Islamic finance. We will need the law to go hand in hand with that. So my question is, at this academy, will there be more course offerings on Islam? Will there be more elements on cultural exchange with the Islamic world, such that Hong Kong can get in on the action? And what can we do to raise the awareness of the Islamic world among Hong Kong's legal practitioners so that we have an easier time tapping the market there? I got my law school training roughly 20 years ago. We only had a brief course on Sharia law. I think things have changed much since then. So for the academy, in terms of recruiting talent, will we do more on attracting such talent? Will there be a roadmap for us? Would there be more such training? Now, in recent years, there has been more collaboration with the Islamic world. As Ms. Yong said, now there are products on our exchange with Islamic elements. As people will have heard, we are also working to cater for the needs of visitors from the Islamic world. Much improvement has been seen. Now, for this academy and for the DOJ, our focus is on the legal framework. For other areas, we have other policy bureaus working together in the same world. We are pursuing this Islam-friendly policy. Now, for the legal framework, when finance is involved, that is a matter involving not just the DOJ, but we will be working with the relevant policy bureaus. We will give support. When enhancements are needed, we will do our part to pull our weight. On the course offerings at the academy, we have many training requests coming in. Now, on training on Islamic law, we will do our best to offer suitable training for the legal sector. Next, Ms. Doreen Kong. Thank you, Chairman. I very much support the Hong Kong International Legal Talent Training Academy. The academy has already proved a huge success. As the Deputy Secretary said, we are overwhelmed at the academy with applications. So my question about this academy's programs is, how do we measure the success of that academy? Just then, I've heard from the Bar Association and the Law Society that each body offers much training for their own members. So my question is, now we have the academy, and then you have the Bar Association and the Law Society's own training programs. So we have training from 3 sources. How can we achieve some sort of collaboration, some sort of synergy among the programs from the 3 sources to achieve greater efficiency? I would like to hear from the Deputy Secretary on this. Now, on promotion, the academy is now overwhelmed with applications. But how can we promote the course offerings to come so that more legal practitioners become aware of those offerings? Deputy Secretary. Now, we care deeply about the success of the programs run by the academy. The feedback from the participants matters to us. We give questionnaires to those participants to find out what they think about the course design, the delivery, the quality of the training materials, and the breadth and the depth of the course content. So we do gather feedback from the participants. We also include open-ended questions in our questionnaire. So those questions aren't just about asking for rating or asking whether the participant agrees or disagrees with the statement. We also allow room for those participants to share their thoughts on how we can do better with the course. On division of labor, the 2 legal professional bodies and the academy are of one mind. We all want to do more for nurturing talent. We don't want overlap in training programs. We bear that in mind. So in the future, the DOJ will remain in close contact with the 2 professional bodies. Information sharing matters. We first have to find out what the sector wants, and we want to get a sense of what each side is preparing It's okay to be working on the same thing, but we have to work with each other in designing the breadth and the depth of the training programs. We have confidence, and we will work with the two legal professional bodies, and we will work together well. On publicity, we note Ms. Doreen Kong's comment. We will get it right with the publicity. As I said, legal departments from mainland authorities and mainland lawyers' bodies know this academy in Hong Kong. We also want our local legal practitioners to be better aware of the programs on offer at the academy. We thank Ms. Doreen Kong for her comments. Professor Priscilla Leung. First, I thank the Deputy Secretary for attending an event yesterday on Sunday. It was an event on creating a GBA hub on corporate restructuring. The overseas experts who came here found it encouraging given what they saw. Hong Kong is meant to serve as a bridge. We do not have to have experts in every field. We can serve as a bridge. We find the experts, we bring them here, they're happy. We don't have to coordinate everything. In the civil society, law on the Belt and Road is in hot demand. We also want to follow the WTO's development, the World Trade Organization, and we can gather talent here. It was great to have the Deputy Secretary at the event. That was all that mattered. Professional bodies in the civil society are working with finite resources. Without resources, you cannot do anything. We can only work with what we have, so we may end up inviting just 5 experts when we have maybe 20 in mind. But without resources, you cannot bring all the experts here you want. But let's make the most of this. You don't have to train all the talent from scratch. You can create a matrix. You can bring everyone together. You can bring outside experts who come here. You can meet with the experts. Just then I heard from the Bar Association about a talk on maritime law. It was from the Law Society. I just talked to universities. The government has been responsive to our comments, so I applaud the government's work. We don't have any people to teach maritime law. It matters, but we're short of instructors, and no one signs up for those courses. But there is a market for maritime legal services. From the latest information I have, I know much scholarship has gone out to lawyers. Still, we are short of instructors on maritime law, so you have to make one professor teach 2 universities. And there's much unused scholarship. Now, I was pleased to learn about the talks, and I was told there were 58 talks, so I wonder if there was mismatch. But I'm very happy to be the middle person. I've been trying to help by getting more law students to practice maritime law. Without maritime lawyers, you cannot forge soft power in maritime law, let alone dispute resolution. So I wonder if things have changed. So we're saying there is much interest in maritime law. I just want to find out more. So I will stop here. I think I'll save my 3rd question for later. I think I'm out of time. It's on corporate restructuring. We had this event yesterday. it turns out there's a huge market for corporate restructuring, and they wanted us to have more such events, and so that we can have business matching. And then you can even have actuaries and accountants involved for corporate restructuring. It's teamwork. So I just want some more details on this.
想講海事法律呢，
We need to train maritime law talents. They can make contributions to the country. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Leung, for inviting us to the seminar or forum to turn the GBA into a world business restructuring center. At the meeting, we met with a lot of overseas experts. Yesterday, there were a lot of experts, and this is the strength of Hong Kong. When we organize international forums, conferences, and so on, a lot of experts are more than willing to come to Hong Kong. I couldn't stay behind throughout the day yesterday, but some colleagues told me afterwards they met with a lot of renowned overseas experts. They showed immense support for Hong Kong. They believe Hong Kong does have these strengths, and we do need to turn them into good account. I agree. The government alone cannot accomplish all the tasks. We need to work more with the community. We need to team up with the community. Just as Professor Leung said, I'm indeed thrilled to take part in this large-scale meeting. In the future, we are willing to work more with the community. When it comes to maritime law, as Chairman said, in the past 2 years, a lot of members, including Chairman, have been encouraging us to promote maritime law. We are planning work along this line, and we do hope to implement the measures in relation to maritime law promotion. Thank you. Next member, Dr. Junice Ho. Thank you, Chairman. Deputy SJ. When it comes to the Hong Kong International Legal Talents Training Academy, I agree on the reasons why it was founded. On top of training or exchanges, risk management education, RME, CPD, these are directly related. Participants can earn credits. This will help them meet the practicing requirements. When there are new laws and regulations, how can we better promote new laws and new regulations? We cannot rely solely on RME or CPD. Upon completion of the training courses provided by the Academy, which are well structured and which are rich in content with pragmatic contents, there should be a standard. I mean, within the Academy, there are CPD courses, and there are also CAAO, which is an independent regime. To train Hong Kong lawyers to become GBA lawyers, this is a professional regime. Say take the Faculty of Medicine as an example. If you are a general practitioner and if you want to become a cardiologist or neurologist, we need to provide standards for, say, a general practitioner to become a specialist in the context of medicine. As Professor Leung said, we have similar talents in relation to barristers and solicitors. Not just CPD. We need to cultivate a sense of responsibility among legal practitioners, say for foreign-related legal services or for new financial products such as stablecoins. When one finishes a course, then one may become an expert. They will become pioneers, so to speak, after which we'll continue to make enhancements. Do you have any similar idea in mind? Let me give you another example. Mediation, arbitration. Upon completion of a course, one may become an accredited mediator or arbitrator. When we give a professional title to course participants, we may attract different legal practitioners to take different courses. Is it possible to provide independent courses? We have reverse mortgage provided by the Law Society of Hong Kong. When you haven't completed a course on reverse mortgage, you cannot practice in this area. Thank you. Deputy SJ, Dr. Zhang. Thank you, Dr. Ho. Dr. Ho's proposal is very forward-looking. It is not that we haven't yet thought about this idea, but then we are in the initial stage of our plan. Say for professional courses or accreditation courses, it is not that we are not going to roll out these courses. However, when it comes to structure of the academy, Government Council helps with the operation of the academy, but then our courses are free of charge. We cannot offer paid courses. These courses need to be of high quality over a longer period of time. Then we may provide accreditation. When a participant goes to mainland China to study a program, then he or she may have to pay. We need to sort out all these arrangements before we can provide these programs, but indeed we are moving towards this direction. Thank you, Dr. Ho, for your proposal. We have indeed thought about these proposals. The academy hasn't been established for long. We aim to provide better quality courses. That's how we can instill confidence in the legal sector. When it comes to professional qualifications courses in the medium to longer term, we move towards this direction. Thank you, Dr. Ho, for your proposal. That is quite a positive response from the Deputy SJ. Thank you. Ms. Carmen Khan. Thank you, Chairman. I agree on this agenda item. I thank Chairman for bringing this topic up for discussion at our meeting. Technologies have been developing very rapidly. The time is ripe for us to discuss this topic. While I was reading this information paper, whether barristers or solicitors, we are regulating ourselves by way of CPD as well as other courses. So I am thinking about the role of the DOJ or the Legislative Council, the executive, the legislature, and legal sector. How can we better equip legal practitioners? Say for very important issues in relation to economic development or society development, say for company redomiciliation mechanism, BEPS 2.0, stable coins, global minimum tax, and so on. While I was speaking to different lawyers in the industry in Hong Kong, they aren't well versed in these pieces of legislation or ordinances. In the course of drafting, the DOJ understands very well the different perspectives of different policy bureaus. Before drafting of legislation finishes, you may invite the industry to provide their opinions. Is it possible to make available this mechanism? In paragraph 23 of the information paper, or rather in 25, we have the Standing Committee on Legal Education and Training. Should there be more JD courses, that is Juris Doctor courses? How can we qualify future legal practitioners in order to give them the credentials they need? These matters don't seem to be falling within the purview of the Standing Committee. It was formed in 1999. Law Tech Fund $40 million, and then some 40% was dedicated to cloud. In June, we had a roundtable, that is the Let's Go Tech roundtable in June this year. Are you going to share with us some more thoughts about law tech? How can we leverage law tech to help the industry? Thank you. This year we held the Let's Go Tech roundtable. Last year, in the policy address, the CE said that we needed to take forward the development of law tech. This roundtable had law tech experts, and we also invite some practitioners from the industry in Hong Kong. We invited barristers, solicitors. We also thank the China Legal Services Hong Kong Limited for inviting some legal experts or legal practitioners to join us. They put their heads together. They talked about the demand for law tech in the current market. It was a very good opportunity for them to discuss law tech and how they can use law tech to help themselves. The legal practitioners in Hong Kong have had a better understanding as a result of the roundtable. We are planning to organize more roundtables. Then we may talk about how law tech products will further help them. Just now, Ms. Carmen Khan also talked about the Standing Committee on Legal Education and Training. It has its own statutory functions. It is responsible for overseeing the courses or programs provided by the 3 schools of law in Hong Kong. We need to incorporate law tech in the School of Law courses. There is a process of discussion. Some may say that we need to have a new course that is law tech in the School of Law. However, some think that law tech should be incorporated into different courses in the School of Law. In other words, there are 2 schools of thought, so to speak. in the schools of law in Hong Kong, no matter how they are going to incorporate law tech, we need to introduce law tech in the courses in the different schools of law. So when they graduate, the DOJ doesn't have to introduce law tech to graduates from scratch. Then in the market there will be a better ecosystem to provide more products. There are national security factors at play as well. When I'm using an overseas product, is it possible that it may not be allowed to be used tomorrow? And this is actually a real possibility given the current geopolitical situation. It's not an exaggeration on my part. We need to think very thoroughly and carefully before we promote these law tech.
So on my first suggestion, the DOJ keeps an open mind. I think that's the case. The legislature, the executive branch, if they have any new ideas, they can share those ideas with the industry. Take maritime law as an example. In the legislature and the executive, we know there's a pressing need for talent in maritime law, but then we're short of such people in the academia, so we should be working more closely together. So that's a comment from the member. Next, speaking for the second round is Maggie Chen. Thank you, Chairman. My question has to do with law tech. Paragraph 25C. In fact, under the heading C, Development of Law Tech Roadmap, these are profound words. Challenges coexist with opportunities. Law tech will be a tool for law firms to upgrade and transform themselves. I think the DSJ knows it. We need the law tech tools. We lack a dedicated tool for solicitors in Hong Kong as a common law jurisdiction. So that means our clients and non-legal practitioners are trying things out on the same platform. And that means when someone who is a layperson finds information on a large language model on an AI-powered platform, they simply come to a solicitor for endorsement of the information the client found online. So we need a tool dedicated to licensed solicitors. Without such a platform, solicitors will simply be asked to endorse whatever information a layperson has found on a large language model online. And we simply lack the power to verify the information that is generated by an LLM. And there's a pressing need to do this. I know the Secretary for Justice and his deputy are working on this. How much can we bring forth the launch date of the roadmap? I know you are working hard, but the market is moving fast. The legal sector will need to make good use of the technology. Law tech should be there to help lawyers do their job, instead of limiting what lawyers can do. So I want to ask about where we stand and whether we can move faster. If you need help from legislative members, I believe other members and I are happy to help, because at center stage here, we should be putting lawyers there. Now, I want to talk about HK Pilot. I know This has been used internally. On the basis of HK Pilot, can we also open up access to this platform to licensed solicitors? Deputy SJ. Now, the roadmap. The roadmap is top of mind for the member. We also care deeply about the roadmap. We appreciate the need for speed. First, we have to promote law tech in the sector. The legal sector is a more conventional sector. And for small and medium law firms in particular, they don't see the benefits of law tech. They may think it's not worthwhile to invest resources and time in law tech. So as a first step, we have to show the sector that law tech can bring benefits. We have to get buy-in from the sector on that. And then we have to nurture a law tech ecosystem. We need law tech product that can help the legal sector. We want to show the legal sector the real benefits that the law tech solutions can offer. And then the next step is to find the most reliable solutions. By reliable, we mean it's a user-friendly solution and affordable and safe. There is enough protection for client data privacy. And there will also be requirements over national security. As part of the roadmap, we will also set out the ethical and security guidelines. We need everything in place to guide the sector to move towards law tech one step at a time. Ms. Chen also wondered whether there will be incentives for the sector to adopt law tech. I cannot answer on behalf of the government, but if we can, we will provide the incentives. We want a roadmap that can guide the sector to move towards law tech one step at a time. Now, HK Pilot. It is a government-funded project. A university developed this AI-powered large language model. HK Pilot is in use by government departments. Now, if people try out HK Pilot and finds it useful, they can use it on a larger scale. Over the past year, something I was glad to see was that we now have 3 local universities having already entered into collaboration agreements with businesses. Some products are at an advanced stage. So, in the near future, there will be AI-powered law tech solutions. They will be coming on stream in Hong Kong, and we will be working on this as well. So we have wrapped up this item here. Thank you. I thank the Deputy SJ and the 2 legal professional bodies. We now move on to the next item. The next item is update on the provision of legal aid services by the legal aid department. So we now invite the officials and representatives to join us. Members, please note LC paper CB bracket 2 1318/2025 bracket 03. That's the paper from the legal aid department. The other paper is LC paper number CB bracket 2 1318/2025 bracket 04. This is the background brief prepared by the Legislative Secretariat. Members who wish to speak, please press the Request to Speak button now. We welcome Ms. Eva Yim, Deputy Director of Administration, and Mr. Chris Chong, Director of Legal Aid, and their colleagues. Also joining us are people from the Law Society. Mr. Stephen Hong, former President. Now, Ms. Melissa Pang, a fellow former president. Joining us from the Bar Association, we have Mr. Jeffrey Tam. I will first invite the Deputy Director of Administration, Ms. Eva Yam, to walk us through the paper. Thank you, President. Thank you, Chairman. We are here to brief members on the latest position about the provision of legal aid services by the Legal Aid Department. Legal aid is a key part of our legal system. It's crucial for upholding the rule of law. The government seeks to strike a balance between the rights and interests of aided persons and proper use of public resources. We want to ensure proper access to legal aid for people. To ensure proper use of resources under the legal aid scheme, we implement the means test and merits test rigorously. We also have measures to combat abuse. In terms of assigning cases, the Legal Aid Department assigns cases fairly to avoid overconcentration of legal aid cases in the handful of lawyers. We also provide more opportunities for younger lawyers by assigning legal aid cases to them. To promote awareness of the legal aid, we engage in publicity to deepen public understanding of legal aid and dispel misconceptions among the public about legal aid. We also adopt technology to enhance service quality. We also improve users' experience. I now invite the Director of Legal Aid to tell us more about the latest position of legal aid. Good afternoon, members. Starting from May 2023, in fact, at that point, we briefed members on enhancements on the legal aid scheme. Over the past 2 years, that is since May 2023, we have been offering quality legal aid services. We also combat abuse of legal aid to make sure that legal aid resources are used properly. Now, over the past 2 years, the number has held steady in terms of applications for civil and criminal legal aid. For the civil legal aid cases, those cases have to do with personal injuries, work-related injuries, matrimonial cases. Those cases make up roughly 80%, and certificates issued make up 90%. For judicial review cases, the number of legal aid certificates granted remained on a low level. Over the past 3 years, for civil, they made up less than 2.5% of all the legal aid certificates issued over the past 3 years. Now, for criminal cases, for legal aid applications granted, the number held steady. The Legal Aid Department also assigned cases to a larger pool of more junior barristers to take those cases. Over the past 2 years, we rigorously implemented enhancements in terms of case assignment. The Legal Aid Department also stepped up publicity to raise public awareness of the Legal Aid Department's work. The LAD also explores different options to leverage technology as a way to enhance our service quality and improving users' experience. We will continue to monitor the situation. We will closely monitor cases so that public resources are properly used while we maintain affordable services. And we will also make sure that no one in Hong Kong is denied access to justice because of a lack of means. And we invite members to note the content of the papers, and we welcome comments and questions from members. My colleagues and I will be happy to explain the matters further.
邀請
Thank you. I now invite Ms. Melissa Pang, past President and Chair Lady of the Legal Aid Committee of the Law Society of Hong Kong, and Mr. Stephen Hong, past President and Chairman of the Criminal Law and Procedure Committee from the Law Society of Hong Kong. Thank you. In accordance with Article 35 of Basic Law, members of the public in Hong Kong have the right to take cases to the court, and they are also protected in relation to the right to institute legal proceedings in the courts against the acts of the executive authorities and the personnel. The policy objective of legal aid is to ensure that all those who have reasonable grounds for pursuing or defending legal action in the Hong Kong courts will not be denied access to justice because of lack of means. The Law Society of Hong Kong has been concerned about the legal aid system in Hong Kong. Quite a lot of members of the Law Society are engaged in legal aid work. There are standing committees under the Law Society of Hong Kong concerned about the legal aid work in Hong Kong. There are 4 points. Number 1, we need to strengthen promotion to the public. 2, we need to improve the procedures when it comes to legal aid application. 3, we need to improve the arrangements when it comes to payments for briefed out counsel. 4, we need to enhance transparency, and we also need to improve the mechanism for briefing out cases to lawyers on the legal aid panel. The Law Society of Hong Kong is glad to see that the Legal Aid Department has taken on board our views and proposals. Improvements have been made on different fronts. Paragraph 22 and paragraph 24 mention the series of measures implemented by the LAD to promote the core services of the Legal Aid Department to the public. Speakers will be invited to speak at CPD courses. They will provide the most updated information to members of the Law Society of Hong Kong. From time to time, the Law Society receives comments when it comes to payments of briefed out counsel. We will keep a close watch on the situation, and we will also be conducting regular reviews. The Law Society of Hong Kong expects the provision of legal aid will be more efficient, effective, and more sustainable. I now give the floor to Mr. Hong, Chairman of the Criminal Law and Procedure Committee from the Law Society of Hong Kong, to speak. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to speak on 3 points. Point number 1, when it comes to assigning lawyers, that is, assignment to solicitors as advocates, which includes solicitor advocates. It has come to our attention recently that in assignments where a solicitor can appear on behalf of the litigant are few and far between. A total of 5,496 legal aid certificates were issued between 2021 and June 2024, but only 76 solicitors were assigned to be solicitor advocates. So, roughly 0.0138%. I'm not sure why the figure is such small. It's so small. but I'm confident the solicitors are capable enough to appear on behalf of a defendant for mitigation or for trial without assistance of a barrister in the district court. I hope the legal department can look into the situation. I want to know why the percentage of cases assigned to solicitors is so low. I understand there is no mechanism for lawyer appointment. Well, I mean, lawyer nomination. In 2019 and 2 to 3 years that followed, owing to riots, there was an abuse of the mechanism of nomination. That's why there is no longer the nomination mechanism today. I hope that the government and legal department should consider once again allowing the nomination mechanism. This mechanism had been existent for a long time before 2019. There weren't significant issues before 2019. There weren't any complaints about abuse of the mechanism. I hope that the legal department will discuss with the Law Society of Hong Kong the possibility of allowing the nomination mechanism to operate once again. When a defendant is arrested by the police, after a period of time, he or she is taken to the magistracy. After a few mentioned hearings, the same lawyer or the same team of barristers follow the case. When the case goes to the district court or, in particular, the High Court, there are issues when it comes to costs. The defendant may want to nominate the lawyer that has been representing the defendant, and in my opinion, this is a valid request. I understand that we're using public money. That's why we need a mechanism. I hope that the Law Society of Hong Kong and the Legal Department will have a chance to discuss having this mechanism once again. After discussion, I believe the result is still a no. But if we can discuss the matter and if we can steer the middle course, I believe this is not a bad choice for defendants either. I forgot the Chinese version of biennial review of legal aid fees. That is the English version. So biennial once every 2 years. And in 2024, I wanted the government to conduct a review back then. But in the end, the government wasn't willing to discuss the criminal review. I want to take the opportunity today to talk about this, because when we first started to have this review, there were complaints. $100 to $200, an increase of 100%. But after all, the amount of $200 isn't a right one. Now, off the record, I can say that the hourly wages of lawyers in criminal cases, in my opinion, isn't that reasonable. In addition to money, it is useful to discuss matters in relation to arrangements, operation once every 2 years. But despite my request, the government still refused to discuss this matter. I hope in 2026 we can sit down and have a discussion. Thank you. Next, Mr. Jeffrey Tam, member of the Standing Committee on Legal Aid Reform from the Hong Kong Bar Association. Thank you. BARSO has been working with the Legal Aid Department on legal aid cases. First of all, I'd like to thank the LAD. In paragraph 21 of the paper, it mentions that the LAD fully supports the Patrick Yu Memorial Scholarship Scheme established by Bar Association. It encourages young and junior candidates of high caliber to practice in criminal work or to join criminal practice. In doing so, I believe the LAD and BARSO could have more collaboration. In civil cases or matrimonial cases, we can implement similar arrangements to help young and junior barristers as well. Just now, Mr. Stephen Hong, past president of the Law Society of Hong Kong, spoke on some criminal cases as well. I mean, we do have our own views on criminal cases. The biennial review has been an effective mechanism, and I'm not going to repeat what Mr. Hong has said just now. But I'd like to make another point. When it comes to criminal cases, the base figure of criminal cases is even lower or even smaller. We take into account the number of court hearing dates. In the Court of Appeal or in the Court of Final Appeal, some cases finish within half a day or a day. But the preparation done is significant, even much more than cases heard in the district court or in the high court, that is, court of first instance. So I hope that the government will discuss it with us in relation to whether it is possible to nominate a lawyer or a barrister in a criminal case. Bar Association understands that this mechanism cannot be abused, but I'd like to discuss it with the administration when this mechanism is not abused. Last of all, I'd like to thank the LAD in the past 2 years. When it comes to interim payment in civil cases, indeed, we have seen an enhancement in this regard. Usually within 6 weeks, there is an interim payment paid to barristers. However, when it comes to final payment, usually in civil cases, it's much more complicated. Some members said that it took years for them to receive the final payment after the conclusion of the cases. Thank you, Mr. Tam. I now open the floor for members to ask questions. In the interest of time, just have an hour left, so I will give each member questions and answers included 4 minutes each. First member, Ms. Maggie Chen, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question about paragraphs 14 and 15 of the paper. It's about combating improper touting activities. So touting here means something done by a small number of legal practitioners. But in the city, you see touting done by people who are not lawyers. So what can the legal aid department do about that? So we have heard that the LAD would work with the Law Society and Bar Association, but those two bodies could only regulate lawyers. When the people involved are not lawyers, there's a gap. So has the LAD considered actions against such people? The paper says the LAD would explain how things work to labor groups, but you have to be targeted in what you do. So can we go to hospitals at the offices of the LAD or the Labor Department? Can we put up more posters? Now, also in the paper, it says that in a civil legal aid case, one long-standing problem is that the staff at the legal aid department comment on the performance of certain solicitors. I get that feedback every now and then. So can we issue guidelines to legal aid department staff saying that they have to follow the guidelines? And in the public area of the LAD's office, can we put out more circulars or posters? Can we spell out the do's and don'ts for the LAD staff or the points to note for the aided persons? That way we can make sure everyone is doing what they should. For all cases, the LAD has achieved greater transparency and has taken into account suggestions from the sector. The comments from the Small and Medium Law Firms Association have also been incorporated, but you can do even better. So we have to combat touting by non-lawyers, and let's put up more posters so that we are all clear what to do. I have to make a declaration. I also take cases from the legal aid department. As Ms. Maggie Chan said, we dedicated quite a lot of time and energy to publicity. We hold a talk for labor groups almost every 1 or 2 months. We do take a targeted approach, so we tell people about the basics, how to apply for legal aid, etc. We also tell people about the problem of touting. Last November and December, we made a video. That video was about telling the public what to do when they were approached by people outside the hospital at the legal aid department's office or the labor department's office. The public should come to us right away if they are approached by people saying they can help them handle litigation or legal aid. Ms. Chan would like to see stronger publicity, such as more posters on walls for the legal aid persons. Now we can consider that as well. Now on the performance of nominated lawyers, we want aided persons to be informed of the background of the lawyers they may nominate. At the time of nomination, an aided person may appoint a lawyer based on hearsay. But our records may show that a solicitor did a poor job in the past. With that information, we have the obligation to explain that to an aided person so that the person can decide whether to stick with that lawyer. So we're not smearing any brief-out solicitors. Now, if a solicitor has a poor record, we can explain that to an aided person. The aided person can decide to switch to a different lawyer. And if the aided person decides to stick with the lawyer, we can also refuse the nomination. There's an appeal mechanism for an aided person, and such cases have happened. We do welcome Ms. Maggie Chan's views. on more guidelines for our frontline staff so that we can avoid needless misunderstanding the points you note for the frontline staff as to what they should pay attention to when they explain things to aided persons. I hope that answers Ms. Chan's questions. I hope that for future questions and answers, we can stick to the rule of brevity. Ms. Carmen Khan. The paper stresses that the principle behind legal aid is that no one is denied access to justice because of a lack of means if they have grounds for pursuing or defending a legal action in Hong Kong's courts. Something in the opening remarks from the Law Society got my attention, so I would like a response from the Legal Aid Department. Because this point has to do with the principle behind legal aid. The Law Society told us about this biennial review of criminal legal aid fees. A request was made in 2024, but that was denied, so no discussion took place. On assigning cases to solicitors, so of the 5,490 certificates of legal aid, only 76 cases went to solicitors advocate, and the percentage-wise it was 0.0138%. I wonder why. I would like a response. And now on Rule 11 orders, this has to do with abuse of legal aid. So I wonder, over the past 3 years, what's the situation like for the Section 11 orders? I thank Ms. Khan for her question. Now I start with the last question in fact. Now on Section 11 orders, if we believe there is abuse of legal aid, we can issue an order restricting applications from this person for legal aid in the next 3 years. Now, I want to share some figures. Over the past 3 years, 2022, 2023, 2024, there were 17, 28, and 17 such orders respectively. So this order matters. We don't just issue such an order casually. So that's some figures I would like to share. Can we have some more details after the meeting? I want more details on not just the figures, but also the circumstances. Now, can the director also address the point from the Law Society? Now, for solicitor advocates, the percentage is only 0.0318%. Or 0.0138%. Now we want the less experienced lawyers to be able to take part in legal aid cases. We want to give more cases to less experienced barristers. So they can take up part of the advocacy work of the more senior barristers. That's why we got fewer veteran solicitors to take the cases. And when someone approaches us for legal aid, we cannot tell for sure whether this person will plead guilty. Assuming this defendant wants to plead not guilty, so we assemble a team of a barrister and a solicitor for this aided person. And even when this person decides to plead guilty, the same team will represent this aided person. Now on the biennial review, that review has been ongoing based on the composite price index. In December, it rose by 3.9%. I believe the Law Society's point was to go on top of that and raise the criminal legal aid fees. And we have been in touch with the Law Society about this. If the Law Society has more details in mind, we welcome such details from the Law Society, and then we can talk about that. I think you should set up meetings. Yes, we do meet, and we can have further such meetings. I will help coordinate these meetings because I can see the request from the Law Society. Can we switch on the microphone for Ms. Eva Yan, please? Just one word. In 2024, we met with the Law Society. I was at the meeting. Mr. Stephen Hong was also there. In criminal legal aid cases, we had a little problem in assigning cases to solicitors, but of course there is always room for further improvement. So we invited the Law Society to provide us with more details on their proposal, on the specific elements the Law Society would like to see incorporated into the mechanism. We're waiting for such further details from the Law Society. Once we have the details, we are perfectly happy to have a meeting with the Law Society. Chairman, I want to declare an interest. I am a member of the Law Society, but I'm not a practicing solicitor. Mr. Holden Chow. Chairman, some thoughts from me on the views from the Law Society. Now I want to talk about solicitor advocates. I agree with the former president. Among solicitors, many in this trade have what it takes to be solicitor advocates. They can handle a case from cradle to grave. Now, from my years of practice, especially in criminal cases, solicitors are mostly client-facing. The barristers don't talk to the client. That's why the barristers can focus on the case throughout the process. Now, for solicitors, we have to talk to the client. Clients get emotional. Solicitors take care of clients on those occasions. So solicitors have what it takes to argue cases in a court, but there is a division of labor. And this is a deep-seated issue. Some people wondered whether we should merge solicitors and barristers once again. There was such talk. But I think industry veterans can see this. We split the tasks. There are merits with this approach. The Law Society made a point about the criminal legal aid fees. We should be thinking about this. Last December, there was an increase of 3.9%. That was an increase in line with inflation. But I think Mr. Stephen Hong's point was a full review. Our hourly rates have not been adjusted since 2017 by the judiciary. So I don't need a response to my points that I just made. Now, my final point on legal aid, we assign lawyers. When the aided person is a member from an ethnic minority, they may speak a certain language. We need interpreters for those people from ethnic minorities. So have we reviewed the situation of assigning interpreters to make sure the distribution of work is even? Because I got feedback where some interpreters got more work than others. So I urge regular review of the distribution of work for interpreters.
Thank you, Mr. Holden Chow, for your questions. I'd like to ask my colleague to give you more information. Thank you. In selecting interpreters for cases, our department adopts a rotational approach. So we won't give the work to just one or two interpreters, but the number of cases in different languages varies, so we'll try our best to ensure fair distribution. Mr. Chow, it's important that you have this mechanism. As long as you have a mechanism, it's fine. I hope you will keep a close eye on the situation. Thank you. We have two more members lining up to speak in the first round, then Ms. Maggie Chen in the second round. I am going to extend the meeting by 15 minutes, and I am also drawing a line here. Mr. Dennis Leung, thank you. The legal aid system helps those in need, especially those who lack means. The LAD helps these people to handle their legal needs. While I was serving as district councillor, I have a lot of members of the public to fill in forms to apply for legal aid. Many of these cases had to do with divorce pleadings or divorce applications. Some members of the public wanted to use their own forms instead of the legal aid system. Well, I mean, the documents used by the court are too complicated. This system is different from that in mainland China. In mainland China, there are more simplified documents in their system. Is it possible to provide scripts, templates, and so on? When these cases are taken to the court, usually the cases end up not having a ruling. I mean, these cases will end up in settlement in the end. Now there is a timeline or a time limit of 10 years. Is it possible to better monitor the situation so that resources of society won't go to waste? Thank you. I'd like to give the floor to my colleague. In relation to application procedures for legal aid, I understand your point. Most applicants are the grassrooters. The application forms, well, I mean, it's actually very easy to indicate the type of cases that you are pursuing. The rest are your personal particulars. The rest are the details in relation to means test. We oftentimes mention that we provide assistance to those in need. That's why we require members of the public or applicants to disclose information about their assets. They simply need to tell us their income, their expenditure, and so on. As long as the applicants report honestly, that'd be fine. On the very same day, a staff member checks the information provided by the applicant. Will make sure the application form is all right. When it comes to this, it's not too complicated. It's nothing legal. Applicants use simple Chinese to tell the stories, such as the reasons why they are seeking divorce with their husbands. Say probably their husbands don't provide maintenance, there is physical abuse, or they slip and tripped on the floor. Then we may ask the applicant to provide more information, such as whether there are witnesses or the location where they get injured. For those who have difficulties at the time of interviews, they may seek assistance from our staff members. Each applicant is helped by a staff member. We want to provide assistance to all applicants. Alright, can I still go on? Thank you, Chairman. in relation to the issue of time. All LED lawyers are eligible practicing lawyers in Hong Kong, but sometimes some cases linger on for a longer period of time. We don't allow any delays, or when some lawyers drag their feet, we ask lawyers why. For some cases like land disputes, estates, and so on, there may be, so to speak, tug of war, hence a longer period of time when it comes to these cases. But we will keep a close watch on the situation. When we find that some lawyers drag their feet, we will consider taking action. Next member, Professor Priscilla Leung. Thank you, Chairman. In 2009, my first motion in the Council was about legal aid. When members of the public apply for legal aid, they face different difficulties. But today we focus on difficulties faced by lawyers. Many people ask about the distribution of cases under legal aid. Some lawyers don't even get a case from the legal aid department. Just now I heard from the LED. Some cases may be assigned to junior counsel in order to give them more experience. When I teach at university, of course, I want younger, more junior barristers will have more opportunities. However, from the perspective of defendants, their own cases are very important to them. It's about whether they have justice or not. If cases aren't handled well, it will be very difficult to save the day. So it's not just about giving opportunities for counsel with less experience. The LED shouldn't be used as a testing field or as an avenue for younger counsel to accumulate experience. Sometimes we see that some particular types of cases will be assigned to certain lawyers. We once mentioned using the system of public hospitals. You need to take into account qualifications and years of experience. That's why we should review the situation and the mechanism when it comes to improving the mechanism for payments. I once served as an expert witness, but then I hadn't received the payment even 7 years after the conclusion of the case. This is my personal experience. I hope that the the mechanism will be enhanced. When it comes to solicitor advocates, in other words, solicitors will have the advocacy as well. I'm a practicing barrister as well. When I find some cases interesting, I go to the court as well. In my opinion, the legal sector should adopt an open mind. Many clients want to engage me. They want to retain me, but then in the end they couldn't, and they have to retain another lawyer who isn't as familiar with the area as I am. The fee is higher. We need to rethink the distinction between barristers and solicitors. Nowadays, we need to take into account whether it is suitable to combine lawyers and combine solicitors and barristers. Be they solicitors or barristers, they need to upskill themselves as well. We shouldn't just restrict ourselves to the 6 mandatory courses. The world has changed. We need to keep upskilling ourselves. My students, I have barristers and solicitors. We need to diversify the business environment for barristers as well. Probably we need to change the method we're using. When some cases are assigned to counsel with less than 5 years of experience as set by the LED, if we had better arrangements, this wouldn't happen. We need to use a roster system like public hospitals that will ensure fair distribution of cases. Will I remind members, please consider whether you need to make any declaration. Thank you, members. Mr. Chong, I understand a member's point. It might prejudice the interest of applicants if we assign counsel with less experience, and that's why we factor in the nature of the case as well as the years of experience of counsel. If necessary, we will appoint a more senior counsel to assist junior counsel. I agree. It's about the rights and interests of an applicant or a litigant. The then chairperson didn't agree with me. I said that the applicant or the defendant should be at liberty to choose whoever lawyer he or she wants to retain. But then the chairperson back then didn't agree with me. They thought that they needed to allow more junior counsel to accumulate experience. Well, I have used up a lot of my time, or maybe I'll speak in the second round. I have already drawn the line, Professor Leung, but do you still wish to follow up? After the meeting, probably. Thank you.
Ms. Maggie Chen. Thank you, Chairman. I want to discuss solicitor advocates. I declare an interest. I'm a panel solicitor with the legal aid department. I want to discuss why there are so few solicitor advocates, so few certificates of legal aid. It's because of the way you compile the data. Because they can only indicate the number of cases by 1 to 5 cases, one box, and then 6 to 15, another box. So the legal aid department thinks this solicitor advocate has so few cases under their belt, so they won't be able to represent the client. So there you end up in a catch-22 situation. Before becoming a legislative member, I appeared at court, I appeared at district court. Now I appear in court less often because of my legislative membership. And I just realized I no longer qualify as a duty panel lawyer. Now, for solicitors who want to become solicitor advocates, we want more solicitors to get involved, but we also want to ensure quality. Can we apply the practice of having a more senior barrister to lead a junior barrister? Can we apply this approach to solicitors? Can we get solicitors to charge less? But can we let this solicitor help out a barrister? That way, the solicitor will be able to build experience, and then the solicitor can meet the requirements of the LAD. Otherwise, solicitors will always struggle to become solicitor advocates. So you have a more experienced barrister leading or guiding a solicitor. You can find an up-and-coming and young solicitor in that case. Thank you. Now, whenever we appoint a barrister, we will need an instructing solicitor. So the instructing solicitor will have that case counted towards the solicitor's case count. I am familiar with your form. You have to choose. Either you are an instructing solicitor or you are a solicitor advocate. I hope that experience can count towards the solicitor's experience as a solicitor advocate. Now, in the legal profession, we know that responsibilities and tasks vary wildly from solicitor advocate to instructing solicitor. What you do as an instructing solicitor is very different from work as a solicitor advocate. I'm not asking for some kind of equivalence. I'm simply asking you to take an open mind to explore this, such that solicitors can build up more experience in advocacy. I'm not asking for a yes or no question on the spot. I'm simply asking you to keep an open mind to explore this option. So that concludes this item. If there being no other business, I adjourn the meeting here. Thank you.